Hello everyone. You know what they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, but you can definitely see a lot of it in one. You can see the absolute best parts, the legendary places and the secret spots, but you do need to have a plan in order to do that. In this episode, we're gonna take a look at a curated list of Roman ruins that you can still visit today. And it's going to be followed by other exciting places and monuments that you can visit in Rome. So this is the first part of a series of videos that I'm gonna dedicate to Rome. In that series, we're gonna cover it all, from the grandest imperial ruins to the coziest hidden Baroque courtyards. So, let's not waste any time and dive right in it. The Colosseum, probably the most famous of all Roman monuments, sort of like the mascot of the city. It is the world's most famous amphitheater and the symbol of Roman imperial power. It was completed in the year 80 AD under Emperor Titus, and it hosted gladiatorial contests, public spectacles, and wild animal hunts for over 50,000 spectators. Its complex underground system of tunnels and cages, the Hypogeum, is now visible, and the name Colosseum is believed to come from the colossal bronze statue of Nero, the Colossus of Nero, that once stood nearby. In medieval times, it was used as a fortress, a quarry for stone, and a Christian shrine. The Roman Forum was once the center of Roman debate, the center of public life, politics, and commerce. The ruins of the Roman Forum include the Temple of Saturn, which used to house the state treasury, the Arch of Titus, and the Senate House. The Sacred Way was the main street of the Forum, and it was used for triumphal processions, and it includes ruins of the Temple of Vesta, where the Vestal Virgins tended to the sacred flame of Rome. After the fall of the empire, the Roman Forum was abandoned. It was buried under soil and became known as Campo Vaccino, or the Camp for Cows. The Palatine Hill is the legendary hill of Rome where supposedly the city was founded by Romulus. It became the most exclusive neighborhood for Roman emperors. And here you can explore the ruins of the Flavian Palace, and it offers stunning views of the Roman Forum and of the Circus Maximus. According to the legend, on this hill is somewhere hidden the Lupercal, the famous cave where the wolf tended to the two twins that founded the Roman Empire, Romulus and Remus. It's also divided into Domus Flavia, which contains the public palace, and the Domus Augustana, which is a private residence. The word in English for palace originates from the place of this hill, Palatium. The Pantheon is a magnificent, incredibly preserved temple. It was rebuilt by Emperor Hadrian around 126 AD. Its dome is the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the world. It has an opening on top called an oculus, and is the final resting place of the artist Raphael and several Italian kings. The current building is the third Pantheon on site, and the first one was built by Marcus Agrippa. Rain that enters the oculus is drained away by small, almost invisible holes in the slightly sloped marble floor, and it survived because it was converted into a Christian church, Santa Maria ad Martires, in 609 AD. Circus Maximus. This was the ancient stadium where Romans used to host chariot racing. This was the largest stadium in the Roman Empire, and it was capable of holding over 150,000 spectators. It's now a vast public park, and it's often used for concerts and events. The long central barrier, called the Spina, was decorated with obelisks and statues. It has two massive Egyptian obelisks that once stood on the Spina and are now in the Piazza del Popolo and Piazza San Giovanni in Laterano. It was also the primary site for Ludi, public games held for the entertainment of Roman people. Baths of Caracalla. These colossal and well-preserved ruins of an ancient Roman bath complex. It opened in 216 AD, and it was a social and recreational center with gymnasiums, libraries, and gardens. The Baths of Caracalla showcase the incredible luxury and engineering available to the aristocrats of Imperial Rome. It used a hypocaust system, somewhat similar to the one in the Colosseum, and also a sophisticated underfloor heating system to warm the rooms and pools. It could accommodate about 1,600 people at one time, and the floors were covered in elaborate mosaics, many of which are now in the Vatican museums. Domus Aurea, also known as Nero's Golden House. These are the ruins of Emperor Nero's vast and opulent golden house, built after the Great Fire of 46 AD. It was a legendary palace that used to host parties. It was covered in gold and precious stones. Today, you can take a unique underground tour, often supplemented with virtual reality, to reconstruct its original splendor. Its revolutionary octagonal room had a concrete dome with a central oculus, which may have inspired the Pantheon. The Colosseum was later built on the site of this palace's artificial lake. After Nero's death, later emperors wanted to distance themselves from this memory, filled it with earth, and built over it, like the baths of Trajan that were built over this house. Trajan's Market is often considered the world's first shopping mall, and it was built by the architect Apollodor of Damascus, the same one that built the bridge over the Danube. A large, multi-level complex of ruins were adjacent to the imperial fora. It housed over 150 shops and also administrative offices. It was built on the site of Quirinal Hill, which was excavated adjacent to Trajan's Forum. It's a masterpiece of Roman concrete construction, with cross vaults allowing for light and air to pass through. And the main street going through it was called Via Biberatica, or Pepper Street, likely after a food or a spice market. The Arch of Constantine, the Grand Triumphal Arch located between the Colosseum and the Roman Forum. This is a sight to see. It was erected in 315 AD to celebrate Constantine's victory at the Battle of Milvian. It is famous for its use of spolia, reliefs and sculptures taken from earlier monuments. It's the largest Roman triumphal arch and one of the last of its kind. It has 3 separate archways, a design which was reserved for the most important triumphs. The famous and ambiguous inscription credits his victory to divine inspiration, a subtle nod to the newfound Christian faith of Emperor Constantine. Largo di Torre Argentina. This is the place where Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC. Its sunken square contains the ruins of 4 Republican-era temples, and today it's a protected cat sanctuary. The 4 temples are identified simply as A, B, C, and D, as their original purpose is still uncertain. However, these are some of the oldest temples in Rome, dating to the 4th to 2nd centuries BC. The archaeological site has been recently restored and made accessible to public with new walkways and access paths. Trajan's Column. It's a towering marble column completed in 113 AD, commemorating Emperor Trajan's victory in the Dacian War. It features a continuous, spiraling frieze depicting scenes from the military campaigns, and it's approximately 30 meters high. It was originally topped with a statue of Trajan, which was replaced in the 16th century by a statue of Saint Peter. The frieze contains over 2,600 figures, showcasing detailed Roman military life and technology, and the spiral staircase inside the column allows visitors to climb all the way to the top, even though it's rarely open. Baths of Diocletian. The largest and most sumptuous bath complex in ancient Rome, this one was opened in 306 AD. It could accommodate up to 3,000 bathers at the same time. It's part of the complex that was later on converted by Michelangelo into the Basilica of Santa Maria degli Angeli e dei Martiri. The Roman complex now houses the National Romans Museum section dedicated to Roman inscriptions and prehistory. The Great Hall of the Baths, Tepidarium, was transformed into a central nave of the Basilica by Michelangelo, and today the ancient Natasho, or open-air swimming pool, is part of a church cloister. Hadrian's Mausoleum, or Castel Sant'Angelo. The massive cylindrical structure originally built by Emperor Hadrian and his family was completed in 139 AD. It served as the foundation for the later fortress known as Castel Sant'Angelo. The structure was once topped with a lavish garden and a bronze statue of Hadrian. It was heavily plundered for its sculptures and for its marble during the barbarian invasions that followed the fall of Rome. It is the final resting place of several emperors from Hadrian to Caracalla. Octavia's Portico. The remains of an ancient monumental portico located in the Jewish ghetto. It was originally built by Augustus and named after his sister, Octavia Minor, in the 2nd century BC. It served as an entrance to the temples of Jupiter and Juno. It was historically the center of a Roman fish market during the Middle Ages, and the surviving ruins include the facade and the partial archway. It marks the entrance to the Jewish ghetto and contains the Church of Sant'Angelo in Pescheria. The House of Augustus is the private, modest residence of Rome's first emperor, Augustus, on the Palatine Hill. It is known for its remarkably preserved frescoes and intimate scale, and this site is part of the overall Palatine Hill complex, requiring specialized access. The house reflects Augustus' public image of simplicity, which contrasted with the later imperial excess that followed in the Roman Empire. The complex includes the adjacent temple of Apollo Palatinus, dedicated to its patron god, and the wall paintings are exceptional examples of the Second Pompeian style of Roman painting. Theatre of Marcellus, an ancient open-air theatre with a capacity of 15,000 to 20,000 spectators. The construction of this building was started by Julius Caesar and completed by Augustus in 13 BC, and this one was named after his deceased nephew Marcellus. It later served as the foundation of the Orsini Palace during the Renaissance, and it still has remaining arches that provide the clear example of the Doric and Ionic styles of Roman architecture. It is still used today as a venue for outdoor summer concerts, and it's also called the Jewish Colosseum due to its proximity to the Jewish ghetto. Curia Julia, this ancient meeting place of the Roman Senate, is located in the Roman Forum. The building visible today is a reconstruction of the structure built by Diocletian after the fire in the 3rd century AD. It was preserved because it was also converted into a church in the 7th century. The enormous original bronze doors are now located at the Basilica of St. John Lateran. Copies are on the Curia. It features a beautiful floor dating to the 4th century renovation and stands near an ancient black stone pavement marking a sacred and possibly ominous spot. Ludus Magnus are the ruins of the main training school for gladiators in Rome. It was built by Emperor Domitian in the late 1st century AD, close to the Colosseum, and it's only partially visible today, including the outline of a smaller internal training arena. It was connected to the Colosseum by an underground tunnel for easy access on 5 days. The visible ruins were discovered in 1937 beneath the street level, and it was a sprawling complex with barracks, a hospital, and a courtyard for training. Temple of Portunus is an exceptionally well-preserved ancient Roman temple dedicated to the god of keys, doors, and livestock. It is located in the Forum Boarium, or the cattle market, dating to the 2nd or 1st century before Christ. It survived because, like many other Roman monuments, it was converted into a church in 872 AD. It is a rare example of Roman adaptation to the Greek Ionic style, and it's using travertine stone to give it a distinctive look. It is situated near the Temple of Hercules. Pyramid of Cestius. This is a 2,000-year-old ancient Roman pyramid built for the magistrate Gaius Cestius around 18 to 12 BC. Its design was inspired by the Egypt mania that swept Rome after the conquest of Egypt, and it is located next to a peaceful Protestant cemetery. It was later incorporated into the Aurelian Walls, a defensive wall built in the 3rd century, which helped preserve it. The Protestant cemetery next to it is the final resting place of the poet John Keats, and it is one of the best preserved ancient buildings in Rome. Rome is chaotic, beautiful, and absolutely relentless in its pursuit for your attention. It was only fitting that we started this series of videos with ancient Roman monuments and places that you can still visit today. But there are going to be way more topics that we are going to address when it comes to Rome. Feel free to share your favorite Rome memory or other secret spots in the comments below. And why not join our growing community by hitting that like and subscribe button. Until next time, ciao!